And that was In Death by Kofi Owusu-Ansah, who is right here with me. Good evening, Kofi.
Yeah, good
And
evening,
welcome to the news.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Are you cool?
Yeah.
What is the message you want to send across?
Well, first of all, I think that it's very unfair if I don't thank, the crew that went with me.
Yes.
A wonderful cameraman, Christopher Sakwa. He did a great job in that story. But then I think that beyond that,
but just before you go, because you mentioned the crew, you wanted to thank them as well.
Yeah.
How many days did it take you to put this together?
Well, it took a number of days to actually compile the story, to compile the shots, because we had to take different shots from around town, had to establish contact within the Agbobloshi markets,
Yes.
Where the real, business pertains.
Yes.
And so it took a number of days. I'd probably say like a few weeks, like three.
I was amazed they were ready to talk to you and they stood at the door, because usually you go there, you want to talk to them, they will say, Master, we didn't want to talk to you and stuff. But so how did you manage? How did you get them to freely come out to talk to our cameras?
Well, I think that it all depends on the approach. It depends on the approach, because if you position yourself in a way to tell their story, I think that they will be more than willing to tell you their story. But then, if you don't really endear yourself to them and really get to know them to tell their story, because initially, when I started to do this story, you ask yourself, what social, discourse or impact will the story have? And when scrap dealing, comes to mind, anything that comes to mind is, environmental hazards and this and that, and they are
definitely it's going to be negative towards the dealers.
Yes, and so, but then when you get to interact with them, you really begin to appreciate the other side, because as a reporter, you don't need to put yourself in the story, so you get to see, on hindsight, all the different angles that come out of the story, and then you just, tell the story as it is, and then help the public make an informed decision.
What is the story?
Well, I think that it's no secret that we are faced with a huge, environmental challenge in this country. Our authorities have been so obsessed with fighting, the menace of plastic waste and all those things, that really the issue of electronic waste has really been, should I say, swept under the rugs.
Exactly.
It's not really come to the fore that much. In recent times, there have been attempts to limit the number of substandard gadgets with certain legislation, bring an old fridge and come for a new one and all those things. But then we haven't really seen concrete efforts in that direction. So when I started to do this story, my main aim was to, first of all, bring the issue to the fore, and then doing the story itself, a number of issues come up. There are of course the environmental issues. There are health and safety issues. There are financial issues involved, economic issues. Because like you heard from the story, the Agbobloshi Scrap Dealing Association alone registers about 6,000 youth. That is a huge community in itself, a constituency in itself, who contribute their quota to the economy, because it's a registered association. But then, the way they go about things, you ask yourself, is it worth the risk? And is there nothing that, authorities can do to really, because to all intents and purposes, the way they go about their things is a bit primitive, burning electrical gadgets, poisonous chemicals in open air. It's not really the best.
Associated impact on the Korle Lagoon.
The Korle.
Yes, just before we wrap up on this, my concern is their request over there that the EPA could come out. They have actually come out with a suggestion that if the EPA could come in to say teach them or help them adopt a more modernized way of going about their business. But considering their numbers and considering the fact, I don't know their packet, but considering the fact, some of these gadgets, some of these implement machines are very expensive, and you need an organized entity to have, so you can have all of them there. They burn these scraps and sell them to the companies that will then melt them. Why can't they sell them as raw as they are? Did you find out if they could sell them as raw as they are to the companies who may have the plant that will process these things so that they could extract the metals out of them. Did you try to?
Well, I think that first of all, what that underscores the fact that they are calling on authorities like the government and the EPA to come in to aid them, really shows that they are willing to learn, they are willing to adapt, they are willing to apply modern techniques to make the environment safer, to secure their health and other things. But then, like you asked, I mean. Most of these big guys, these big companies who buy from these people, even the exporters, some people come to export, the materials, are not really interested in raw materials, because it's a bit of hard work, tedious to really, yeah. So it all boils down to labor, cheap labor, because you have these guys mostly from the north, sad to say, engage in these activities, working their socks off to make a living. And people are taking advantage of them, fair as it might be, but then they also need some help. Yeah. So the ball is squarely in the court of the authorities. Yes. To also do something about their situation.
Either to ensure that the companies get plants over there, so they modernize the whole thing in processing it to extract the metals from it, so our men can also have a rest. Thanks so much. That's a good job done over there.
Thank you for having me.
Keep on keeping on.
Thanks.
So that was Kofi.